YouTube, it's Missy, and today I'm here to share with you guys my 10 thrillers that I really like, that I think you should read. This is piggybacking my mystery books. Mystery, thriller, and suspense can be so with that being said, thriller means that there's action in it. Suspense means there's danger but not that much action. Both of them you know who the killer is, and then mystery, you probably don't know who the killer is, and it's a slower paced book. Let's get on with my thrillers. I do have one that I actually do not own. I had owned it about 2 years ago, and I got rid of it for some reason, thinking I would never read it again, but I really liked it, and so now I have to buy it again, which is irritating. But that is You by Caroline Kepnes. Now, I know that Hidden Bodies, the sequel, was a bust and nobody really liked it, but I did really enjoy the first book, and it's about a man who, I think his name is Joe, who works in a bookstore, and he has terrible thoughts about people. And one day a girl comes in and he decides that he's fixated on her. He decides that he has this whole future ahead of him with this woman, and he tries to do everything in his power to get to her. So he's basically a stalker. Very thrilling. It was a very good book. When I think of thrillers, I think of I can't put it down, I'm scared or anxious the entire time, maybe I'm biting my nails, wondering what's going to happen next. And so that one is a very good book if you haven't read it already. The next book I want to talk about is False Memory by Dean Koontz. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name for a second. By Dean Koontz. This is about a woman whose best friend kills herself, but doesn't believe that that is the whole truth. And so she starts trying to dig in further, and she talks to her friend's psychologist, but in doing that, she becomes a victim as well. Very, very good. I haven't read this since college, but I know that I absolutely loved it, and I do need to do a reread of this. If you've read this book, let me know down below what you thought of it. All right, the next one is Misery by Stephen King. I know every book that he writes, the big heading on Goodreads or wherever else you find your books, it will say horror. But that's just an umbrella. He does write a lot of books that don't have monsters in it. So this one is about a man who is a writer. He gets in a really bad car accident, and a woman comes by who just so happens to be his biggest fan, and she's crazy. So she takes him home with her, nurses him back to health, and pretty much tortures him the entire book. I really, really loved it. This is one of my favorite Stephen King books. Definitely a thriller. I was on edge. I was at the point where I couldn't even pick this book up because I was so scared about what she was going to do next. Very good. All right. The next thriller I have is The Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. This has an incredible twist to it. Two incredible twists, actually, that I just did not see coming. I really, really enjoyed it. It's about a man and a woman who meet at an airport, and the man is unhappy with his marriage. He has witnessed his wife having an affair, and so the woman that he meets at the airport says, well, maybe you should kill her. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll kill my wife. I'll just probably go home sad and depressed and divorce her. And she's like, no, you should kill her. People deserve to die, and I will totally help you do it. Fascinating book. Absolutely loved it. The next one I have is The Butterfly Garden, or this is the first book in the Collector trilogy. This one is really good. It's about a bunch of girls who are kidnapped and taken to a man's house. He is called the Collector. He puts his girls in a garden. He tattoos butterfly wings onto their backs, and he keeps them as kind of like pets. When we first meet our main character, she is in a interrogation room being questioned by the FBI, and so we know that there's been a rescue, and that there's survivors. And that is her story. She's telling the cops what happened while she was kidnapped and who the killer is, and you know, the whole process. Really, really enjoyed that one. I also really liked the sequel, and I do have the third book in the series that I have to pick up in 2019. The next book is new. You guys haven't heard a review of this one, so I'm just going to give a little bit of a synopsis and then I'll do a full review in my December wrap-up. But that is Off Season by Jack Ketchum. This is his debut novel. I know that this is considered a horror because it does have horror aspects to it, but it's also a thriller because, you know, there's action. And so this is about some people in the woods who get attacked by cannibals. That's all I'm going to say about that. I will give a bigger review at the end of the month. Next we have Silence of the Lambs by Thomas Harris. This is the second book in the Hannibal Lecter series. I could have either talked about one, which is Red Dragon, this one, or Hannibal. I could have talked about any three of those books because they're all considered, for me personally, thrillers. So we have killer in here. This is kind of more mystery than thriller, but because Clarice Starling is in danger the entire time, so it's kind of like a suspense too. This is an all-around thriller, mystery, suspense genre book. There's a little bit of everything, and I really enjoyed it. This definitely kept me on my toes. And if you like the movie, you will love the book. The next thriller I want to share with you guys is Suicide Forest by Jeremy Bates. I just read this in October. This again is a horror, but we have a bunch of people who are going to be camping in Suicide Forest in Japan, and they're slowly getting picked off one by one. So it is an anxious, action-packed horror book because, you know, they are on the run. Yeah, I am considering it because they're running. A thriller. I had to loosely do all of these. I do apologize. Like I said, all of the books that I talked about in my mystery video could have been in the thriller section as well. All right. Then we have Bird Box by Josh Malerman. Now, I know everyone's going to say again, blah, 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 blah. It's horror. Yes, it is, but we don't know who the scary thing is outside. We have a bunch of people who are not allowed to look out the window because if you do look out the window, you become a raging maniac and want to kill yourself and everybody around you. The thriller aspect is the anxious feeling that you don't know what's going on outside and everyone is constantly in fear. So I'm putting it under thriller. You can debate me down below if you want. I don't know. I have so many thriller books, and with this video I realized that I haven't read enough thriller. Like I want to say 100 thriller books on my shelves and I haven't read any of them. I keep buying thrillers, but I haven't actually picked them up. So 2019 has to have more thrillers in it. I try my best. I get distracted by a lot of different books. Anywho, the last book I want to talk about is Mr. Mercedes. Again, this is kind of like a mystery crime book, but it's also a thriller because our main character is constantly under surveillance and he feels like he could be next at any point in time. We have a detective who has retired, so he's at home. He had a case before he retired, which was the Mercedes killer who ran through a crowd of people with his car, never was caught, and our main character really is hurting because of that. He really wanted to catch the killer before he retired and he wasn't able to. Now it's kind of like, not a closed case, but it's not his anymore. And so when he gets a letter in the mail from the killer himself, he decides to go rogue and do it alone. And yeah, really enjoyed this book as well. Those are the thrillerish books that I have read that are on my shelves that I think you should definitely pick up in the future. Let me know down below what are your favorite thrillers. I had a really hard time finding them, like I said. So next year, more thrillers. I need a list down below. I have a bunch, and sometimes I wonder whether they're going to be actual thrillers, because I read on a website that there is psychological thrillers and sci-fi thrillers and horror thrillers and domestic thrillers. So there's all these different thrillers, which is mainly action books with a crime base to it. So yeah. Let me know down below what you thought of these books. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.